welcome to Table Talk. We're so excited that you're able to join us as we talk all things food waste, insecurity, and food rescue. I'm your host, Stephanie, the volunteer manager here at Table to Table. And for all of those that are new, allow me to introduce you to our organization. Table to Table is a community-based food rescue program that collects perishable foods that would have otherwise been wasted and delivers it to organizations that serve the hungry in Bergen, Essex, Hudson, Passaic, and Morris counties. We rescue food from over 200 donors, including supermarkets, food distributors, restaurants, and commercial kitchens. And we deliver it same day free of charge to over 250 community organizations, including food pantries, shelters, and programs serving those in need. Today, we have a very special treat for you all as we are going behind the scenes at Montclair State University, where we'll meet Brittney Portes, who oversees their community gardens. Join us as we talk all things food and sustainability.
Welcome to the Montclair State Community Garden here located at Montclair State University. I'm Brittney Portes and I am the Community Garden Lead. And right here, right behind me, we have 20 raised garden beds. And how it works is we include and invite students and faculty members and staff members to participate inside of this garden, where a lot of the work that we do is mission oriented, where we donate a large part of the produce that we grow to the Red Hawk Pantry to support the food security initiatives on campus. If you're not aware, students at Montclair State University, 40% of them identify as food insecure according to our latest surveys. And that's why this garden is so important, because not only does it provide food to our local on-campus community, but it also provides a space for people to have access to growing, because a lot of our students also come from urban areas. So many students come from areas, or even if they've immigrated, they tell me, Brittney, this garden reminds me of home. This garden reminds me of my family. It allows them to explore, to engage, and also to build community. So if we kind of look around, you'll see that there's a lot of half plots, quarter-size plots, and full-size plots, because it's not just an individual activity. Growing food, we're nurturing the gardener within. I'm a firm believer in that. And essentially why we do that is because a lot of students, they'll team up together, or like staff departments, they'll do a whole department. Like this department right here is an entire department of individuals working together. We have 10 to 15 people coming just to grow one plot in community and harvest and donate together. We also have individual clubs that join, or even students and staff who work together, like the French Club, for example. They come together all the time to harvest and grow. And I think that's what makes our community garden so special, is that it's truly inclusive of so many different people from so many different walks of life. And we really like to try to kind of bring in the cultural relevance of the food that we're growing. We try to bring in the stories of different people of different backgrounds, and ultimately we're cultivating food not just for ourselves but for our greater community. Come over here. In this bed we have a diversity of vegetables and edible flowers growing here. I mean, just right here we have this huge sunflower that volunteered itself to grow this year. But the things that we have decided to plant, right inside this trellis we have a variety of cucumbers that are growing. These first two rows down here, those are rows of beets. All along the borders, we decided to plant medicinal plants this year to kind of incorporate how can we do teas and incorporate medicinal plants into our diets.
Nice.
So we're growing, actually this is all calendula, this plant. We have a lot of Swiss chard, but we also have chamomile here, which is a nice herbal tea.
I love chamomile tea.
I love chamomile too. And right here, this is actually a new plant, first time I have been growing it in the garden, but it's called borage. And apparently the leaves people use, and they're also highly medicinal. So we have two borage plants as well. But now, if we take a look at the vegetables that are growing in this plot. In this plot, we have these bigger plants, the purple ones, purple and green. This is eggplant, and we have two different varieties, like the skinny kind and the big chunkier kind of eggplants. We also have different varieties of peppers inside of here. So these are our regular kind of more classic peppers you'll see in the grocery store. They're like red, orange, yellow, those varieties. And over here, this is a fun one because this is a banana pepper. If you haven't had a banana pepper.
Oh, there's one right there.
I know. There's actually a second one growing too.
Oh, I see them. Hi, guys.
And along the center center, we have some bush beans growing. We've even planted some okra in this bed. I did that, and even some carrots. We got some herbs, basil. Oh my God, we have some parsley over there. We really try to incorporate a variety because diversity of what we eat is also reflective of diversity in the garden. And in this garden, we try to make sure we have as many different varieties of things growing. So also the people who are consuming our food then have diversity of food to choose from and select from in the pantry.
Yeah, this is great. It also shows the diversity on the campus itself.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. Because even, for example, last year, I have a farming background, and essentially I had never grown okra before. And it's not something, as an Afro-Latina, I never grew up eating okra either. And then we have individuals who are immigrants from India, and they grew a whole plot of okra last year.
Oh,
and I was like, what is this? Like, I didn't even know what it looked like. And they taught me how to cook it, how to eat it, and now thanks to them, we actually saved the okra seeds from last year that they taught me how to do. And this year, I took those exact seeds and we're planting them back in our garden this year to kind of really close the loop and bring the culture back into our garden.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okra is one of my favorite. I may not eat it the best way. I like it fried, but
I've heard
very
it's
good.
fried. Yeah.
And even if you cut it up in rice, it's so delicious. I had one of my old co-workers, she was Liberian, and she always made her rice with okra, and she would bring it in. It was so delicious.
Okay, yes. I'm gonna have to try it. Okra's a new favorite that I'm excited.
Yeah,
to
it's very good. So what are these over here?
Oh yeah,
because that is huge.
I know. This is a tomato plant that has not been pruned yet.
Okay.
So we have, and keep in mind, we have people of all gardening abilities in our garden. So sometimes this is why we also provide workshops and educational offerings to our community members, so that way people can be informed on like how to care for their plants. Oftentimes it's easy to just put the plant in the ground and then be like, wait, how do I actually maintain it long term? So we have some tomatoes over here. Back here, see these super tall plants?
Yeah, what are those?
This is Gardener Paul. You actually, he just walked in a few minutes ago. He was watering his bed plot.
Oh,
but
wow.
This is all zucchini. And it's funny because
What are those yellow things inside?
those are the flowers.
They're so
If you want
pretty.
to take a look, and you can actually eat the flowers
Oh, wow.
of the zucchini plant. And oftentimes people will even stuff them. Like, look at this flower right
wow. That is so pretty.
here. Yup.
And they're just hiding, and they bloom even amongst all of the leaves.
Yes, and you can even see there are zucchini blooming in here that are growing. Here.
Okay, guys, we're gonna see a zucchini.
Ready? There's two in there I see right now.
Oh, wow.
Right here, we have a zucchini plant. Another one growing.
I see it. Oh, wow.
Yup.
This is beautiful.
I know, and it's only June, so like we're just reaching the beginning. Oh, if you look down here, or actually let's come down this way. There's so many, and that's what's fun of the community garden is everyone has their preferences for what they want to grow, and it makes it more exciting also for me to come in and see what people are interested by. Like right down here, we have some kale growing, other forms of different squashes, tomato. Actually, this plant I'm so excited by because these are tomatillos. Last year, their tomatillo plants got huge.
Oh, wow.
And I remember the pantry manager, Karina Escobar, when she saw the tomatillos in the pantry, she's like, Brittney, like growing up, this was one of my favorite things to eat. To make salsa
wow.
verde. And it's something my mom also loves to eat. So seeing like the tomatillos in the garden, like I said, it kind of shares a little bit of history and story and like that childlike wonder of like when you eat a food that reminds you of home.
And I think also it does a good job of opening up conversation. I don't think we highlight enough the important role that food plays in getting to know people, just communication in general. So now you said they grow really tall. Is that why the poles are here, so that they can climb?
Well, so it's basically because they have a tall stem.
Okay, so it keeps it sturdy.
The fruit it looks like a tomato, but it's like a green tomato that's in a husk shape.
Okay.
And it gets kind of heavy. So sometimes it just needs that support because it grows tall
Nice.
branches, I guess. Yeah, but let's not keep walking down over here. For example, this is a good array of like different salad greens. This is the German department.
Okay.
Yes, and so like right here they have kales. I'm actually not too sure. They almost look like radish. I think they are radishes. So they have a row of radishes. It looks like they have a row of Swiss chard. These are different salad greens that they have growing on over here. And I love too that they incorporated like different colors, you know, into their salads.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yup, the parsley and the beans in the back.
Oh, it's a little gnome. Hello.
I know, I love seeing, like, I love when people bring and add their own little touch of decor in the garden.
Yeah.
Just because it makes it fun. It makes it
very
engaging.
nice.
Back here, we actually have our first ever lavender plant.
So this is the first lavender plant?
Yes.
And all of our viewers are getting the first view.
I
It's
know.
beautiful. And so would you be able to use that in tea as well?
Yeah, so that was the hope. So with this year, I wanted to introduce a lot more medicinal plants and herbal plants into our garden to try to see, like, okay, like how can we provide workshop offerings that talk about the benefits of lavender?
Yeah.
So this is a good one for demonstration to get it started.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, I've seen this done online with the bottles that help with the watering.
Yes.
So can you explain a little bit about what?
I will be honest, I can't explain it too well.
Okay.
Other individuals have done it, so I feel like that's something I can't talk too well on.
Okay.
I do know it's supposed to act as, see, kind of like this like bulb thing.
Yes, I've seen those as well.
They're supposed to act in a similar manner.
Okay.
I forgot what they're called, but basically when you put water in it, it slows the rate of water, so water is gradually getting put into the soil versus all at once.
Okay.
Yes.
That may have been where I went wrong in my plan at home.
Oh wait, you're gonna love this.
Oh,
Look at these corn.
I was gonna ask if this was corn. Look at how beautiful.
It is. This gardener has been very committed and has been
Oh,
doing a
wow.
superb job this season. But their corn is looking abundant.
It is. It's very beautiful.
It is.
I've heard that the silk from the corn is good to steep in tea for women for their reproductive system.
Okay.
I heard that it works very well for that.
Okay.
I saw a video on it and I thought that was great because you think about what we waste, right? We just automatically peel the skin, peel the silk, throw it in the garbage, and we eat the corn. But the skins, a lot of times in fruits and vegetables, have really good purposes that are healthy for our bodies. So I thought that was very cool. But this corn looks beautiful.
Yep.
And it's when you're in here, it gives you this feeling of you're somewhere else, like you're not in the middle of a road right here and construction down there. But it just goes to show that you really can have beauty and you can grow good food in our own neighborhoods. We might need some modifications, maybe like we were discussing earlier with the soil, in some cities that are not able to grow in their own ground, but you can do raised garden beds. So I think this is a good example of what you can do with what you have.
Absolutely. I mean, just in this space alone, it's about 3,000 square feet total. It's 1,000 square feet of growing space, which is fairly small relative to how much food we can grow. Like just last year, we grew over 800 pounds of food, and of that, 475 of those pounds were donated to the pantry on campus.
Wow.
And this year, we really hope to double that because last year we actually had a late start to our season.
Okay.
And this year, because everyone's so on board with the mission of supporting the pantry and providing as much food as possible to our student population, really, like, so many people got in the garden earlier this year just so we can have more produce going. And that's why you're seeing all these things that are really big right now. Already.
Because you got in so early. So now what does the typical growing season look like in a garden?
Yeah, so the growing season looks like typically we start in about March.
Okay.
In March, that's when you're seeding indoors. So that's when you can start your transplants. You start planting from seed. So that way by the time like April, May comes around, you have plants that are kind of like in their like teenager stage, we like to call them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
But I will say the beauty too is sometimes, say you are late to start, say it's June right now, say it is July, you can oftentimes still go to your local nursery store and find transplants of plants that have already been seeded maybe a month ago. So that way they're still able to be planted in the middle of summer
and produce
and have some produce. Yeah.
Nice. And so now, since we're on the subject of this, tell me how your passion for agriculture and all of this began.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's funny because I grew up in northern New Jersey. I'm the daughter of 2 immigrant parents from Ecuador and the Dominican Republic, and I did not grow up with a connection to nature. I didn't go hiking. I didn't know people like did camping for for fun, especially. And then I took an AP environmental science course like my senior year of high school, and it changed my life because I actually went on my first hiking trip that year at 18 years old.
Oh wow.
And then later that summer I interned on a permaculture farm.
Okay.
So however, that farm changed my life because I ate a carrot from the ground and it tasted like no other carrot I've ever had in my life.
Oh wow.
It tasted repulsive, which is what people think the opposite would happen, but I was like, why does this carrot almost taste so, it had such a strong taste.
Oh wow.
I'm so used to carrots not having a taste.
Yeah.
Tasting kind of watery and bland and whatever. But this carrot, I realized, I was like, the more I ate it, I was like, wait, this actually tastes really good. It has flavor. It has like, I don't know, it made my brain think like, why don't I know what a carrot tastes like? And it made me wonder how many other people don't know what a carrot tastes like.
Yeah.
It makes me think about food justice, food security, your access to fresh produce, organic produce.
Yes.
What does that look like? That wasn't something that was available to me growing up as a child. So in this mission, in this phase of curiosity, I continued to study environmental science throughout my undergraduate degree at Marist College. But then from there, I always kind of had a food sustainability lens. I interned on various other farms across the United States and South America. I worked with Wolf USA, where I continued to travel that way on organic farms, and ultimately working with very diverse communities. I worked with Tobias Fox and New York Science and Sustainability as an intern, and getting to see the different landscapes, it made me realize no one food system is the same.
Yeah.
There's not one solution to solve it all, but I think it's when we approach food from an intersectional standpoint, it's made me realize my passion is so rooted in connecting people with the love of growing good food. It doesn't matter if you don't have a backyard, or if you have the biggest backyard or a farm that you can grow on. I believe anyone and everyone should have access to learning how to grow food, and that's how it's helped me inform to not only manage the Montclair State Community Garden, but also to start my own business, Gardens of Soul.
Yes.
Where I host these workshops and events in the local community, because I really believe that the more people just have the opportunity to engage, connect, to touch the soil, to see the process of getting their hands dirty, growing the seeds from the beginning to harvest, and in their garden to plate. I think that's how we actually start changing the conversation, the landscape around who has access to healthy food. It should be all of us. And that's exactly why I love what I do. I really do.
It shows, and your passion translates. Even getting someone like me who is not a green thumb, probably the closest thing would be going to a farmer's market for me. Yes. But even just hearing your passion, I'm like, okay, maybe I might give this another shot, or even if I'm doing just some herbs or spice, seasonings and things, just something small to start with, it kind of makes me feel like maybe I can do this too. And so now let me ask you, switching gears here a little bit, with all of your knowledge about farming, what do you know, or how much do you know about the food waste that comes from farming, particularly as it relates to our obsession with beautiful fruits and vegetables? And so if you get a banana or a cucumber that's maybe shaped a little weird and it won't sell, what are your thoughts, and then how much can you share with us on the food waste that happens on farms that are strictly for production of food for groceries or main consumption?
Yes, so with my farming background, I used to work on smaller scale, about 1 to 2 acre organic farms.
Okay.
And even on those farms, oftentimes we do prioritize you know, the perfect tomato,
Yeah.
making sure it's round, there's no imperfections or blemish, or doesn't have a weird shape, for example. And oftentimes, I think what is unfortunate in the agriculture, we're so trained, not even in agriculture, I think in just how we are trained as individuals. When we go to a grocery store, we expect everything to look perfect.
I'm paying for this. It better look the way I remember.
Exactly. However, we're also not told about, well, what does it actually mean if it looks perfect?
Yeah.
Is it because more chemicals were added to it, so it has a specific shape? Does it have less flavor, less nutrients because it was grown in depleted soils? I think it's time to start shifting the narrative around what food can look like. Kind of like bodies, there's all shapes and sizes, and when we celebrate all of them, like we celebrate our food the same way. And ultimately too, even on this campus, for example, on this community garden, we have food waste happening when people don't harvest early, for example. And food will waste on the vine. You'll see a tomato that should have been harvested a few days ago and now it's rotting. But what I like to encourage people is, it's time to get creative. There are so many cool food initiatives like Imperfect Foods, for example, or other like grocery stores that are selling these quote unquote imperfect foods but are just as healthy to eat. And I'd like to encourage people is, if you're at a farmer's market and you see something look a little funky, try that one. Try and see. And oftentimes you'll open it and you'll be surprised it tastes exactly the same.
Or maybe sometimes more flavorful.
Maybe. Or even too, like, for example, if you have like an excess of tomatoes, oftentimes, like at the last farm I worked at, we would make all the tomato sauce. Like we would have pizza sauce, marinara sauce, and it was the best sauce I've ever had in my life. So I think it's important to also talk about like getting creative with our food waste, because even if they aren't maybe perhaps good for market, to farmer standards, or not even farmer standards, to just like the average consumer standard, I think it's important to find other ways to incorporate imperfect foods into our diet.
Okay, wonderful. And so now let me ask you, you mentioned starting your own business, Gardens of Soul. And so what types of workshops do you focus on?
Yes, so a lot of the workshops that I host are focused on really helping people learn how to nurture. Maybe we'll give it, they back out.
This is what happens, folks. When you're on location.
It's funny,
that's fine.
When you're in here, you feel like you're in another world, and then stuff like this happens and you're like, oh, nope.
I'm right in Montclair. Love it.
I'm right here. Can you ask me the question again?
Yeah, so what types of workshops do you focus on?
Yes, so a lot of the workshops I focus on are working with people at the entry level all the way to the advanced level.
Okay.
Because really, like I said, I believe that anyone and everyone should have access to growing food regardless of the land space that you have access to. I love to share workshops on like intro to container gardening, for example, because it helps talk about how even if you are in urban spaces, you can still have access to growing food in smaller ways. I also teach workshops that talk about the connection of gardening, the health benefits. There's not just health benefits, but it's also the mental benefits. It's a wellness, it's a lifestyle. And I help people get excited about growing food. I think oftentimes I meet people who are like, oh, I have a black thumb, or I've tried it and it doesn't work out. But that's actually my favorite people to work with.
So there's hope for me.
There's so much hope for you. There's hope for all of us. Because my mom makes fun of me, but when I was like in high school, I was a very materialistic girl. I loved shopping. She was like, apparently I used to say I wanted a house full of mirrors. Like, I know, I did not say that. But apparently I did. And I wanted nothing to do with the outdoors.
Yes.
And it really took harvesting one carrot for my entire life to change. And while it might not be a carrot, it might be a bean, it might be an okra, it might be putting your hand in the soil. It looks different for everyone, but what I do in workshops is I try to help bridge those gaps for people to find their connection, because we're all related to our food systems.
Oh, I love it. So thank you so much, Brittney, for having us here today. I know that the viewers will definitely get something out of this. And also I'm going to make sure that I link all your information for Gardens of Soul for anyone that is interested. But we are just so grateful that you could have us here today and just keep moving our mission forward by having conversations about food waste, sustainability, and what that can look like in different environments. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
I want to thank Brittney Portes and the Montclair State University Community Gardens for having us with you all today. We learned so much, and I hope that this changes the way that you view food. Before we go, let's check out our food waste fact of the day. Did you know that food waste takes up about 22% of U.S. landfills, which makes it the largest component? Wow. Have you ever considered the impact that food has on the environment? Certainly something to think about. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself today. I hope that you were able to learn something new. And remember, if you want to get involved with Table to Table, make sure you stick around to the end of the video and find out all about our wonderful volunteer opportunities. That's all the time we have today. See you guys next time on the next episode of Table Talk.